So I'm going to just season that tenderloin with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then some fresh rosemary too, which is just a really nice flavor with pork. So I'm just going to give that a rough chop, that rosemary, just to get it going. And we have some really fun cherry recipes that I think you're going to love today. Lots of great cherry desserts, including a cherry danishes, and we're just going to use a tube of breadsticks to make them. So that's my kind of recipe. Okay, so season that up well. Little rosemary on there, and I'm going to just sear this tenderloin in that hot oil on both sides just to kind of get it going. Thank you, Deb. Are you
welcome.
Cherry good this morning?
I am cherry good this morning.
I'm glad to hear that. Ireland was so funny. She picked 10 pounds of cherries. Yes, she wanted to fill her bucket, and she's walking around, and she could barely carry it.
10 pounds.
Yes, 10 pounds, and I had to give many of them away, because what am I going to do with 10 pounds of cherries? But anyway, I was talking about it on Facebook, and the Lautenbach family said she's hired whenever she can, because she picked 10 pounds of cherries in like 20 minutes.
Or she's a good picker.
She's a good picker, and they're like, whenever she's ready for a job, she's hired. So pretty funny. It was great fun. Okay, just want to turn this over, and I just want to brown that roast a little bit. I'm going to season with a little more salt and pepper and a little more rosemary. And that's going to sear in the flavor and keep it nice and juicy. This is the biggest rosemary well, except for the rosemary from your garden. This is really nice rosemary. You just picked it up at Festival Foods. So I love the combination of rosemary and pork together. It really works nicely. And fresh rosemary, there's nothing like fresh rosemary. Way better.
It makes all the difference in the world.
It really does. I mean, some dried herbs are just fine, like dried oregano. It's something that I love to use, but boy, you can't really compare the fresh and the dried when it comes to rosemary, I think. World of difference. Okay, so getting some good flavor and color on that roast, and at this point I'm going to transfer you, bye roast, over to a plate and just let it set for a little while, and we're going to get it back in the pan, but I'm going to make the sauce. So I'm going to take some onion, about a cup of just sweet yellow onion. You can find Vidalia onions, they're my favorite, but if you can't find those, no worries, just a yellow onion that we finely diced. And I just want to saute that. It's going to cook and make a great sauce in the oven, but I just want to get those a little bit soft. Smells so good. Oh, and the one in the oven looks perfect. Pork these days is so very lean, which is a good thing. And that's why I love to serve pork tenderloin, because, you know, you get chickened out every once in a while. But that, I really do think a sauce is a great way to, you know, just in case it gets a little dried out, because it's so lean, is always nice to serve along with any kind of pork, whether it be a pork roast, pork chops, you name it. You know, it just really ensures that if your pork does get a little dry, you've got that great sauce to go with it. And I just love sauces anyway, and they're so easy to make. This one is just so simple, this cherry sauce. So I'm getting my onions, letting them sweat a little bit. I'm going to throw 1 clove of garlic that I'm just going to chop up. Now, once that garlic hits the pan, you know the rule. 30 seconds and move it, move it, move it. When you're working with fresh garlic, it can burn on you, and we don't want that. Oh, smells so good. Okay, now I'm going to deglaze the pan, which means get those great pork juices, with a little bit of dry white wine, about 1/2 cup, but who needs to measure? A little bit of chicken stock. Now, if you don't want to use dry white wine, you could use apple juice, would work, or just double the chicken stock. And then I'm going to throw my dried cherries, and I'm using a cup of beautiful dried Door County cherries. And when I put them in this hot liquid, they're going to plump up again. You could also certainly use fresh pitted cherries, but this is why I love this recipe, because I can make this all year round, even when I don't have access to fresh cherries. And they're gonna just plump right up and make the most wonderful sauce. Okay, now my pork tenderloin goes back in to the pan, and I cover it with foil, and I get it into, we're gonna finish it off in the oven. So I get it into a preheated, about 375 degree oven. And the magic number you're looking for when it comes to pork is you want an internal temperature of 160. So use your instant read meat thermometer, and 160 is the temperature you're looking for. You don't need to cook it for hours and hours like, you know, they used to back in the day. You actually, you know, just, you know, it's going to take probably about 20 minutes to 30 minutes in the oven. It's a pretty quick cook. And while it's reducing down, and if you notice it needs to get a little more brown, you can remove the foil. But what happens is while it's baking in the oven, it gets this great sauce. That sauce reduces down a little bit, the cherries and the onions. And how good does that look, Deb?
It looks wonderful.
I know. Now, what I want to do, and if you were doing this at home, I would want you to let it rest for just, you know, 5 to 10 minutes. I think that's so important. But we're going to go ahead and slice this guy up just a little bit, because I just want to show you how juicy and wonderful he looks. What I like to serve this with, oh, you can just tell how juicy. Wow, does that look good? Wow. Knock your socks off good. So I like to serve this with couscous or a wild rice, something that can absorb that sauce is what I love to serve it with. So I can just, and I'm going to take a lot of that sauce and just spoon it over the cherries, and the wine reduces down. I just want to get some of the actual sauce besides the cherries and just kind of, oh, serve that. And then garnish with a little fresh rosemary. And let me tell you, you have a meal that everyone is going to go crazy over. It's my roasted pork tenderloin with cherry sauce. Recipes on our website. You can also pick this one up at any Festival Foods, and it is yummy.